Just going to wait here for a little bit while people sign in. Welcome. See that one person has signed in already. Hello, Lisa. Welcome. Time just to begin to get settled in. Change our focus a little bit for the day as we explore what to do with that thinking mind. More people are beginning to sign in. Welcome. Just get the music going a little bit here. It's time just to begin to refocus our attention and take this time in Zen Times to remember and redirect our attention to how we get ourselves refueled, recentered, refocused. Especially when our busy, active minds are a bit reluctant to do so. As people more and more sign in, welcome. Welcome. So just get settled in where you are. And the nice thing about taking this time is it gives us a moment to pause, to remember ourselves, to return to ourselves, and to remind ourselves in important ways that allow us to function more and more with a greater sense of compassion and patience in our daily lives. Welcome, Deanna. Good to see you again. We're just getting reconnected, refocused, and as we get settled into where we're sitting or laying, or we just take this time to recreate a sense of balance and calm, a priority. So as we move out into our daily lives, we do so with a greater sense of wisdom and patience, less reactive. And I see my grandson has now joined. Hello, Benny. as we get situated here, we've got a few more minutes, so those of you who are signing in can take this time to get settled in, relax. And tonight we're going to focus a little bit more on how that pesky little mind of ours likes to take us hither and yon, there and that and this and what if and what was. And how to be able to allow that to occur without it disrupting. Hello, Steve. Glad you could join us. That busy little thinking mind, even in meditation, wants to entertain itself with all sorts of distractions and interesting kinds of thoughts and images and fantasies. And tonight we're going to focus more on recognizing that that is a fairly typical aspect of this thinking mind of ours up here. That part of our awareness has just been a brand new development in our neurology, only just a few thousand years old. So it hasn't quite understood or embraced what its role is in spiritual, emotional, personal growth and development. And so working with the things we've been working on here in Zen Times, it's an opportunity to develop those tools. Hello, Leslie. Glad you could join us. Hope you're digging out from the snow out east. So as we get started, it's just a little past 7 o'clock. Take a time, a few moments here, and just begin to get yourself remembered, reconnected, resettled with your physical sense of presence, wherever you may be sitting or laying. Just begin to bring that sense of awareness to a deeper sense of comfort. Notice where your feet are placed. Notice where your arms are, your hands are resting, how your shoulders are. Really begin to let gravity bring those shoulders back down into a restful position. With the jaw relaxed, we store so much tension in our neck and our jaw, so that we can physically become more settled and present. And if possible, take a moment and just feel the energy that is your body. It might be a tingling, it might be a buzzing, it might be just a very deep sense. And just begin to pay attention to something we don't normally pay attention to, and that is how our body energy feels. Bringing our awareness back to our physical sense of being. And begin to return. As I have talked about before, this whole idea of return, the prefix of re means to come back to the original state. So return back to your sense of being, of comfort. Disconnect from all the attention we pay to all that busyness out there. And return back home and start here with a greater sense of presence and awareness. Just right here. Return, come back to our original place. And finally, to remind, to come back to our original mind, our original awareness, that isn't dominated by thoughts or opinions or judgments or fears or reactions, but just a reminding, coming back to our original state of awareness, of clarity, of seeing things clearly, of understanding things with a greater sense of wisdom. So just stay with this. And as you cultivate the remembering, the returning, and the reminding, remember to follow your breath all the way back down. Be aware of when you're exhaling. When you think you're done, there's still a little bit more, so just drift deeper and rest. And with each exhale, you just find that sense of presence. Within our body, returning to our place of awareness and to remind. Quiet the mind down. It doesn't mean you stop thinking. It just means you just stop following the thinking. Comfortably, effortlessly. This isn't something you really have to work hard at, although it is hard work. And in pursuing the topics that we pursue in Zen Times, it just requires that we reestablish an openness, a curiosity. a willingness to go just a little bit deeper. Because there's certainly a lot of stuff out there that can interfere with that for us. So in a few moments, just invite yourself to take a nice deeper breath and begin to reorient your awareness to your surroundings, to the topic for tonight. Okay, let yourself stretch, kind of recorrect your posture, whatever it might be, wherever you might be, sitting or laying. And let's explore a little bit tonight about this whole idea of I can't stop thinking. How to work with that busy thinking, distracted mind. And as I said in the description on Zen Times, I hear that very frequently. I can't stop thinking. Well, of course you can't. If you did stop thinking, you would be in a pretty sorry state. So it isn't a matter of stopping thinking. It's a matter of just not following where your thinking process wants to take you when it's not important for you to be thinking about this, that, or the other thing. When it's a time to remember, return, and remind. So we have this opportunity to really look at what is this busy mind? And as I said in the comments, and sometimes I would smile and I would say that is your meditation. It isn't a matter of stopping it or improving things or making things better or different or blah, 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 all those kinds of things that we read that meditation promises for us. It's not a matter of any of that. It's a matter of learning how to be present amidst that busy mind, amidst chaos swirling around us, whether it be personal, health related, or family, or social, or political, or environmental. All that stuff is always stirring around. What our meditation allows us to do is to be able to stay in the midst of that and not get drawn away into it. And so when we practice learning how to be in the presence of our busy mind, we are laying a very important foundation that will allow us to be in the presence of all that other stuff outside with greater wisdom, with greater patience, with greater understanding, less reactivity, less fear, less judgment. Because if we can learn how to be in the midst of all of this up here, then we take that out. And a lot of times in retreats that I conduct, I tell people that 90% of our meditation practices occur when we get off the cushion, when we get out of the chair, and when we move into the activity of the world and what we take into the world based on our meditation. Our meditation grounds us so that we can move and navigate the waters, the turbulence, the ups and downs, the confusions, the aggressions, with greater wisdom, with greater understanding. So when we're looking at how do we deal with this thinking mind, if you're not familiar with him, Anthony DeMello has written a couple of really delightful books on this whole process. One is called Awareness, and the other one is called Sadhana. He does a wonderful job of integrating spiritual practices from a variety of disciplines in a most helpful and useful kind of way. And he says one thing. I want to read something from him. You must take time to experience this wandering mind. Don't try to stop it. Don't judge it. It's going to be there. Take time to sit and be in the midst. And the type of wandering it indulges in is revealing. Our minds will wander. But it's our practice to sit in the midst of that wandering and watch it. To say, oh, look where I'm going now. Look where a wandering mind wants me to pay attention to, and then come back to breath. Come back to remembering, returning, and reminding over and over and over again. And as I stated in what I put into Zen Minds, the content of your awareness is less important than the quality of your awareness. So what our practice, and sadhana is a Indian Sanskrit word that has a variety of meanings. It basically boils down to a method of progress spiritually and personally. So continuing to come back and integrate a practice every day. It doesn't have to be for hours. It can be for 10 minutes. It can be for 30 minutes. But to have that moment of returning back and watching how that busy mind gets hooked, gets distracted, gets confused, fearful, because there's all sorts of stuff swirling around us, especially right now. So if we can just sit and recognize this is how it works. Our minds are really a mirror, a reflection of what's going on around us. And what's going on around us is a mirror and a reflection of how our minds operate. How it is we think, how we think it is. So we have an opportunity to say, okay, enough of this nonsense. Come back, return. My mind is going to think, it's going to be reactive, it's going to go here, it's going to go there, it's going to remember things in the past, it's going to be fearful of things in the future. And that's all okay. Learn how to sit with your breath, to remember, come back physically, return, come back home, and to remind in terms of recognizing that our awareness is far greater than our thoughts. And if we can just allow ourselves to not follow those thoughts, we have an opportunity to deepen the way we work through the daily chaos. And so we make wiser choices. How much are we digesting the chaos around us? How much are we taking in through news, through opinions, through ideas, through our own thinking? We have to take a moment to stop that and just recognize, I am here, I am present, and give myself a break from having to follow all of that noise, so that when we move back out into our world, we do it with a greater sense of balance and calm. So just take a minute right now. Let's close this with a meditation. And again, if you have any questions or thoughts, or feel free to send them along on the page. But take a deep breath in and just release. And as many of you have probably seen, because it's been out there, and to remember that this is a time to not believe everything you think. To let ourselves drift beyond the thinking. What is there when I don't follow my thinking? So take a few moments, develop kind of an inner smile, get connected with your physical presence. Return home. Remind that our awareness is far more than the thoughts that occupy our awareness. And allow yourself, just like you were to watch the clouds drifting across the sky, just like you were to watch children playing in a playground. Just watch the activity of the mind, the thinking, the moving, the directions. And just watch. Give yourself permission to be in the midst. And be gentle with yourself. Your mind is still trying to figure things out. So in the meantime, just stay put right here. Just watch. Just watch. Just like watching leaves fall from a tree. The water flowing down a stream. No need to follow any of the thoughts, the resistance. Just stay put. Stay put. Begin to be curious. What is there beyond the thoughts? What is there beyond the thinking, the distractions? And notice, when you simply ask that question, what begins to happen? What begins to shift? Don't try to think up the answer, because there really is no answer. Ask the question. Sit and wait for what comes into your awareness. What is there beyond all that busy thinking mind? If it's not that, if it's not your thinking mind, what is it? And this method, this sadhana, is a method of developing patience. Patience not only with our innate humanness, patience with how we are in the world and how the world is. Patience with struggle, confusion, distraction, greed, aggression. It doesn't mean passivity. It just means having the patience and waiting for the most wise response. Just waiting. What's the very best next thing? And when we give ourselves this time every day to remember, to return, and to remind, it cultivates us as human beings to move into the world with a greater sense of wisdom, patience, curiosity, and compassion. So take a few moments and allow what you have experienced to settle in, to be a resource, to be an anchor, to be a place, to reduce our sense of fear and reactivity, and to respond, even in the face of great frustration. And the more we do this, the deeper it gets cultivated. So in a few moments, let yourself reorient. Get reconnected with your surroundings. Deep breath. Maybe loosen up the shoulders. And continue to remember, it's not what meditation does for you. It's what you do with meditation. It's not something you do to yourself. It's something that you allow yourself to cultivate. Great wisdom and patience and compassion. So as you get reoriented, let yourself really reflect as you go to sleep tonight on how this can help make a difference. So we will meet again in the next Zen Times in a couple of weeks. Just cultivate your method. You cultivate your method of remembering, returning, and reminding, so that you can move through the busyness and the chaos of all that's out there with greater compassion, wisdom, with a more compassionate response. So it was good to see all of you. Well, in a matter of speaking, I can see you up in the corner. As always, be well, be safe, keep practicing. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. If you have any questions, I'll stick around for a few moments. Or if you want, you can just simply message me on the Zen Times site. I will be having a couple of retreats, online retreats, one from the Cincinnati Center and one from the Christine Center coming up. So be aware of those. If they are of interest to you, check in with them. So be well and smile a lot. You're welcome, Ellen. Thank you, Lisa. Same to you. Wish you all a good evening. I will be signing off in a few moments here. If you still have questions or what have you, this would be the time, or just send me a message on the Zen Times site. I do look forward to the time where we can all meet in person.